Lucius Verus reportedly spent his mornings sifting real gold dust into his thick blonde curls, so his hair would catch the light and appear even yellower. His spending was equally flashy. He once held a single banquet for 12 guests that cost 6 million sesterces, sending every man home with silver carriages, muleteers, and jeweled cups. When he wasn't hosting, he was at the races, doting on his favorite horse, Velucer, a stallion he fed with raisins and nuts and draped in blankets dyed with royal purple. This was a man obsessed with his image. But despite the vanity, he wasn't just a socialite. He was Lucius Verus, co-emperor of the Roman world. His reputation as a frivolous playboy has lasted nearly 2 millennia, a legacy that consistently obscures the 4 years he spent successfully managing Rome's most dangerous eastern border. His partner in power was his adoptive brother, Marcus Aurelius, a frail, serious stoic who preferred the company of philosophers to the roar of the circus. This joint rule was a first for Rome, and Marcus often struggled with his brother's chaotic habits, at one point reportedly groaning and weeping over the cost of Lucius's dinner parties. In 161 AD, the Parthian Empire invaded Armenia and crushed a Roman legion, threatening to seize the Roman East. Marcus chose to stay in Rome to handle laws, sending Lucius to Antioch to serve as the military response. Why would a philosopher who championed restraint and duty entrust the survival of the legions to a man known for his love of gold dust and chariot horses? The primary source for this period, the Historia Augusta, claims Lucius spent the entire war dicing through the night and ignoring the mounting casualties on the frontier. It details a scandalous affair with a woman named Panthea, for whom Lucius allegedly shaved off his beard, an act that made him a target of mockery for the local Syrians. To counter these reports, Marcus hurried his teenage daughter Lucilla to Ephesus to marry Lucius mid-war, hoping the union would stabilize the emperor's behavior. However, modern analysis shows the Historia Augusta was written long after Lucius died, by an author who heavily exaggerated scandals to create a moral contrast with Marcus Aurelius. Letters from the contemporary scholar Fronto tell a different story, an emperor who spent his days personally inspecting the sickbay and leading the army on foot to discipline a Syrian force that had grown soft from years of peace. Lucius proved to be a masterful delegator. He reformed the rank and file while empowering brilliant generals like Avidius Cassius to execute the complex maneuvers required to win. Once the legions were disciplined, Lucius launched the counteroffensive, driving the Parthians out of Roman territory and pushing the fight toward the enemy capital. The campaign ended in the total sacking of Seleucia and Ctesiphon, where Roman troops burned the royal palace, effectively breaking the Parthian offensive. During the march, Roman soldiers reportedly discovered what they called giant bones in a dried riverbed, a discovery that boosted the army's belief that they were part of a legendary conquest. Lucius returned to Rome in 166 AD, having successfully secured the East, sharing a joint triumph with Marcus, and adding the title Parthicus. The victory was absolute. In 5 years, the co-emperor transformed a demoralized, retreating army into a force that burned the enemy's most prestigious cities. The celebration was cut short. As the legions returned from the east, they carried the Antonine Plague, likely smallpox, spreading it through every province they crossed. The disease killed millions, roughly 10% of the empire, decimating the workforce and tax base that kept Rome functioning. Seeing the Roman border defenses weakened by disease, Germanic tribes surged south across the Danube, forcing both emperors back to the front lines. Traveling toward the northern front in 169 AD, Lucius suffered a sudden stroke inside his carriage. He was taken to the town of Altinum, where he died at age 38. His death left Marcus Aurelius to face the crumbling northern border alone, marking the end of the relative peace and shared stability that had defined their joint reign. The suddenness of his collapse sparked immediate rumors of poison, with some accusing his wife Lucilla and others pointing the finger at his co-emperor, Marcus. Historians today dismiss these as products of an era defined by paranoia and pandemic. Lucius likely died of natural causes, or the very plague his own soldiers brought home. He was deified by the Senate and laid to rest in the mausoleum of Hadrian, joining the emperors who built the world he died defending. In his personal writings, Marcus Aurelius thanked the gods for a brother who roused me to vigilance over myself and pleased him with respect and affection. Lucius Verus was a man of his time, extravagant, vain, and fond of the circus, but his ability to reform a failing army and secure the frontier proved he was an essential half of the team that held Rome together.